The back name Uno. Asem Zelo. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Depends your time and your location. You are joining us today at Eastern News 24. Asem Kachuku Okabian Pudumini Yana Boku Obia Nailuno Nimi in the Biafra Yabia and the Mazin Namdekana Aptana Pano. Ise. Alright, Diko Sinaga Ayabapuni also name 5 well. Ayaboze wete lomu Chineke bo. The Ozi see from the lead counsel, Chief Mike Ozekhome, a powerful speech to the world about what is happening in the Nigeria and also extradition of Onyendu Mazinam Kanu. Oku Yabifiko Osuwede. What a powerful speech. Wow. He speak but only the truth. So many the kumu Chineke geya bife kuno kefunu chere na basta ife Mazi Mike Ozekhome, the lead counsel of the IPOB leader Mazi Kanu. Kefu olike iku basta maka yabife na eji n'ugbu a. Alright, leave us with your comments, and after that we will come back and do more analysis on it. Alright, over to you, sir.
Shock waves. No more really. So now it would have been difficult to have a session organized for him without the ruckus, without the disagreements that we saw, because he was a man whose tigritude was mightier than the tiger itself. Here was a man who spoke truth to authority, to the colonial masters. He fought them with bare knuckles. They would transfer him from one place to another for daring to speak out. He challenged authority. He spoke truth to power. He answered the questions. He asked the questions. He answered the questions. He even questioned the answers. The man left no stone unturned and no turn unstoned in fighting for the people of Edo North and Edo State, that time Midwest region. And then, for the records, this man in league with Dr. Dennis Osadebe, who later became the first premier of Midwest region, and others like Oba Akenzua II, people like Jeretin Mariri, Kesitin Momo, Esogba Chief Edebiri, and of course Chief Ekpemoriri Lamai. These were the people who fought for the creation of the Midwest region by popular plebiscite, which was created out of Western region on the 10th of August 1963. So for Chief Richard Lamai, the son, to be organizing this, I am not surprised. It is said by our elders that a fruit does not fall far away from the mother tree. A lion gives birth to a lion and not to a lamb. It was Alexander the Great who said he fears 100 sheep led by a lion than one lion led by 100 sheep. Ekpemoriri was a lion that led 100 sheep. May so continue to rest in peace. Even as I break the good news that he was my distant uncle, and I will go and meet with him and sit down with him to drink from his inexhaustible well of wisdom and experience. And we lost a great man, but his imprimatur, his works, live with us. Senate, the first Senate, we had it by an order in council in 1946 during the Arthur Richards Constitution. Before the Arthur Richards Constitution, we had the Clifford Constitution of 1922. After the Richards Constitution, we had the McPherson Constitution of 1951, and thereafter the Littleton Constitution of 1954. And of course, all these heralded after the constitutional conferences, with our own Chief Anthony Nahoro moving Nigeria's motion for independence to the 1960 Independence Constitution, where we gained flag independence from Britain, but we were still subservient until 1963, when we became Republican. So the Senate has always been there since that 1946. It is the bulwark, the wedge between military juntas, successive military juntas, and the civil populace. The reason we call it a military government is because the legislature has been removed. So Dr. Nwafo Orizu took over from Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who had become the ceremonial president of Nigeria. And of course, during the January 15, 1966 military coup, Chief Ekpomoriri and others were removed from office preemptorily by the military coup led by some young idealistic officers. And let me very quickly correct one historical profanity. One historical profanity. Because by the grace of God, I'm not just a lawyer, I'm an historian and an archivist. And things must be put in historical perspective. Whenever I hear people say the 1966 coup was an Igbo coup, it is a lie from the pit of hell. It is not true. It was a coup led by dissatisfied, disgruntled Nigerians. There were 21 people in all, with the forefront leader being Major Kaduna Nzogu Chukwuma from Okpanam near Asaba in the present day state. Therefore, let me tell you that others who have always made them to say it was an Igbo coup were Major Emmanuel Ifeajuna, Major Chris Anuforo, Major Timothy Onwatuego, Major Humphrey Chukwuka, Major Don Okafo, Captain Ben Bullier, Captain Emmanuel Ngobosi, and Captain Ogbo Oji. These were the 7 Igbos. But now, let us look at the list of the coup players. We have Major Adewale Ademoyegun. He was Yoruba. He's the one who authored the book, Why We Struck. We had Captain G. Adeleke. He was Yoruba. We had Captain Fola Oyewole. He was Yoruba. Who authored the book, The Reluctant Rebel. We had Lieutenant Aru Egbiko. He was Asian from our own Edo State. We had Lieutenant Tijani Kasina. He was Hausa Fulani. We had Lieutenant O. Olafe Miyo, Yoruba. We had Captain Gibson Jalo. He was of the Middle Belt. We had Lieutenant Hope Harris Egaga. He was an Urobo man. We had Lieutenant Dag Waribori. He was an Ijoman. We had Second Lieutenant Saleh Dambo. He was Hausa. And we had finally Second Lieutenant John Atom Bera. Many of you knew him as a military administrator. He was of TV extraction. They were 21. So whenever you hear people say it was an Igbo coup in 1966 that removed the Senate and the entire National Assembly, tell them it is historically incorrect. It's not correct. Having put this one in its proper place. I have defined from my own dictionary, which I've termed Ozekhpedia. So you have Wikipedia, you have encyclopedia. I have my own Ozekhpedia. I have brought out certain demos that we are practicing. Demo means people. Crazy means about them. We practice so many crazes except demo. That word defined by Abraham Lincoln on the 19th of November 1863 during his Gettysburg Declaration as government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Do we have government of the people in Nigeria today? What we have? Electionocracy. Electionocracy is a system where every 4-year interval we go through a ritual to elect or select our leaders. They use 2 years to go around thanking the people and doing 1 or 2 road projects which will be washed away after the first rain. They use the 3rd year campaigning silently, and by the 4th year it is full-blown election. So we don't really have democracy dividends. We don't have people to impact on the common people. We only have people who come and give some rice, some noodles of rice and wrappers to people, or 5,000 naira to 10,000 to vote for them or select them or elect them. And then after that, they forget the people. Do you see them again when they are elected? They are in dark, blackened vehicles. And they won't even open the door to wave at you to say, well done. So that is electionocracy. From my Ozekhpedia, the next one is legislatocracy. Legislatocracy is a crazy which is not democracy, by which the legislators, instead of looking at section 4 of the Constitution to make laws for the peace, order, and good government of Nigeria, they make laws for their pockets. They do not consider the people. The present Senate, since Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Dr. Nwafọ Orizu, Dr. Joseph Waya, has been the worst of all the senates in Nigeria's history, with the 8th Senate arguably being the best, because they could challenge executive lawlessness and impunity. This Senate is a Senate of Agama lizard. Agama lizard is simply saying yes, yes, yes. It will never say no. Yes, Mr. President. Any budget, any request, yes, sir, Mr. President. So I call them Mr. Yes, Yes Senate. I've also called them Mr. Take a Bow Senate. A person has come before the Senate to be examined and scrutinized for a critical national assignment. And you look at the person, I say, oh, Professor Mike Ozekhome, I say, we know you. We know you will do the job very well. Take a bow. So everybody goes there to take a bow. What makes you think I can do the job? Have you interrogated me? Have you asked about my bona fides? Whether I'm a square peg in a square hole? Have you found out? That is not the kind of Senate that we are looking for. By the way, what is the problem? What is the business of senators and House of Rep members doing constituency projects? What is their business? Their job is to make laws for the peace, order, and good government of Nigeria. Is there section 4 of the Constitution? There's nowhere they mention constituency. So it is the system that corrupts us, and power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So we cannot have a Senate, instead of getting concerned about oversight functions under sections 88 and 89 of the Constitution, to hold the executive and even the judiciary accountable. You have senators. When ministers come and members of the DMAs, they ask them, what do you have for us? So if their budget, for example, is going to be 500 billion, they must build in that for the legislators. That budget of 5 billion will become about 700 to 800 billion. No country grows like that. No country. By the way, if you look at section 63 of the 1999 Constitution, the National Assembly is to sit for no less than 180 days. That means 6 months in a year. That is why you see many legislators engaging in business contrary to constitutional provisions that they should not, except farming. The reason is that they have much time in their hands. All you need to do is to schedule your time and make sure you have sat for 6 months in a year. Then in such a case, have recommended again and again, what do we need a full-blown National Assembly for? What do we need 109 senators for? What do we need 360 members of the House of Representatives for? All of them constituting a drain pipe on our national treasury. I do not see. Thank you. I do not see why it cannot be enough for 3 senators to represent a state, 1 for each senatorial district, to take care of the people something. If you want, scrap the Senate, let the House of Reps stay. Or you scrap the House of Reps and let the Senate stay. The alternative, there's an option. The option is let them sit on part-time basis and collect only honorarium, sitting allowance. If you have legislators taking sitting allowance, then you will find that it is those who are really ready to serve Nigeria. People like Senator Oyofo, for example, who was already a guru in the oil business. He left. He wanted to serve his people. He didn't go there to go and eat money, and no corruption case was ever filed against him. If you make it part-time, you will now see real patriots come out to serve Nigeria. You will no longer see everybody killing himself or herself to go to the center. By the way, we are not practicing federalism. We are practicing a unitary system of government where the entire 67 items on the exclusive legislative list are more in favor of the federal government against states and local governments. What is the business of federal government with marriage? Do you know that your marriage, your relationship between you and your wife is governed by an act of parliament, the Marriage Act? In other words, how you dissolve your marriage, how you marry, how you have children, it is the business of the federal government. A matter that should actually concern not even a state, but a local government. What is the business of the federal government? We've been a monopolist of electricity when I should be allowed to generate electricity in my house. Go to Abuad, Afe Babalola University, where I presented the 10th convocation lecture on the 20th of October last year. They generate their own electricity up to 5 megawatts. Wow, what is your business, federal government? With this, with railways, that you are the only one who can construct a railway. What happens to Edo State if the government decides to construct one from Ijukwe, my village, through Agenebode, up to Okbula? Why should you stop it? So these problems are endemic and systemic. So we have a National Assembly, and particularly a Senate, that has been corrupted by the system and by the executive, that has become afraid of its own shadow. This government is on its way going out. I'm just writing an article now. I will put it out today. I titled it, "Our Leaders the ephemerality of power. Go to James, 2 James. It's a power. It's like a bubble. You pinch it and it goes. It vanishes. Ecclesiastics. Nothing lasts forever. Even life itself. Shakespeare. Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that frets and struts his hour upon the stage and is heard no more. It was a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Now, a government that is going, you have been there for 8 years. Listen to this. 2 weeks ago, the president went to the Senate, to the National Assembly, and said, I want to borrow $800 million. Who has calculator there? 800 million times 760. Can somebody do that? 800 million. 800. They put 60 times 760. That is what the Buhari administration told the Senate 2 weeks ago. They want. Oh, Senate said, Mr. Yes, Senate. Mr. Yes, sir. Senate said, oh, approved. To do what with that money? In the twilight of your going, they have just approved over 400 billion. They say payment of judgment debts. Who are the judgment creditors? Have you not seen the judgment creditors in the last 8 years? These are parting gifts for the boys. Nobody is deceived. If everybody is, I am not. Then the same president went to the Senate 3 weeks ago and said, we want to borrow. Yeah, thank you. Do you know how much that is? $800 million is 608 billion naira. 608 billion naira. With that amount, every state of the 36 states in Nigeria can have a first-class hospital fully equipped that will never allow any Nigerian to leave the shores for treatment abroad. Do you hear me? Are you hearing me? The same federal government 3 weeks ago went to the Senate and said, give us 22.7 trillion naira as ways and means loans, ways and means. 22.7 trillion naira. I thought another government is supposed to come in on the 29th of May. Is today not 26? Abi? Is it not on Monday? So, having borrowed money for our generations yet unborn, having sold our yesterday, having mortgaged our today, why are you against selling our tomorrow? Why are you borrowing? What do you mean by ways and means? 22.7 trillion naira. Wait for it. It's not yet ended. It's not yet ended. On again, few weeks ago, the federal government again got approval from the National Assembly to borrow 819.54 billion naira. They call it domestic loan to fix infrastructure. Domestic loan to fix infrastructure. Which infrastructure? When are you going to fix it? I thought you are going in the next few days. But if we had a strong National Assembly, particularly the red chambers, the Senate, in our bicameral legislature, they will say, no, sir, Mr. President, wait for let the next government come and take a decision as to how they want to govern this country. But that is not what we are seeing. So, I have itemized about, I looked at some of the problems we are having, and when I quickly tell you these problems, I will tell you the solutions. I do not just believe in damage assessment. I do not believe in crying over spilled milk. When you say something is wrong, what do you do to right the wrong? because there are many problems. Now, the first major problem which I identify is corruption and greed. And I've itemized some of it. Go and check the budget of Nigeria every year. They will say spoons, cutlery, golden spoons, and forks. They will say about 50 billion to 100 billion naira. I say spoon, fork, and you say they are gold. Are they also diamond? So, do you replace cutlery every 4 years? What we have been having is a maximalist dictatorial presidency, not the type we borrow from America. No, it is the kind of presidency that behaves like Louis XIV of France, that stood in front of parliament imperiously in 1655 to declare, "L'État, c'est moi, I am the state." He approximated himself to the state. American presidency has its own checks and balances. Joe Biden will not simply come out and make a funny request. They will hack him down. But we don't have such a system. We are using a system that is too humongously expensive for us to maintain, instead of the simple Westminster system of government that we operated. So we have this problem of corruption and greed. We have ethnicity and religious sentiments always befuddling us. Ethnicity, you already know. Religious sentiments, you already know. Professor Onigo Otite, in his demographic survey of Nigeria, said Nigeria has 374 ethnic groups that speak over 350 languages. I tell people, I am from Wepa Wano, ethnic nationality, and Esako. From Esako, I'm of Edoid origin. If you talk about 374 ethnic groups in Nigeria, Esako is one of these 374 ethnic groups. Why do you just simply equate Nigeria to the Hausas, Fulanis, the Yorubas, and the Igbos, and you feel you have finished with Nigeria? That is why we can't move, because we are standing Nigeria on a tripod. A tripod is not balanced. If you look at Nigeria from the prism of 3 ethnic groups, what happened to the other 371 ethnic groups? Do you think God created me as an Esako person to be subjugated, to be dominated, to be oppressed, to be repressed, to be suppressed, to be marginalized by any other ethnic group? God couldn't have been that naive. He's an almighty God. He doesn't make mistakes. I'm proud to be an Esako person. I don't want to be a Yoruba man. I don't want to be an Igbo man. I don't want to be a Hausa man. I don't want to be Fulani man. I'm not Bagi. I'm not TV. I'm not Idoma. I'm not Igala. I'm not Ogoni. I'm an Esako man. Until we start respecting ourselves, we will not move anywhere. I have executive interference here. I've already talked about that. I have here truancy and absence from legislative duty. I've touched on that. The egocentric nature of the legislature that made them to query Prince Tony Momo in 1983 to come and disclose the source of information, and he said he will not. Of course, he went to court and he won the case. May Tony Momo soul rest in our journal, Federalism. I've also prepared some solutions here. I have a 54-page paper here. I've just decided to speak to it. I've already sent it to Chief Richard Lamai, which he can generously distribute for everyone here. And the solutions for us to promote responsible governance and curb curbing legislative misuse of power. We must strengthen the rule of law. We must enhance transparency and accountability. We must allow for public participation in the decision-making process of our laws. There must be civic education, so that it will not be their government versus us. It will be our government, collective government. We must strengthen anti-corruption measures and anti-corruption institutions. Not the type we are having now, that they themselves are corrupted. Who will police the police? We need to have ethics and code of conduct. The beginning and the end of our problems is our lack of family values. If your family is strong, then the society will be strong. When your family is weak, the society will be weak. If you wake up every morning, you a man, you start beating up your wife, and your children are watching you, they will grow up into angry children. They will feel that it is violence that we must employ to succeed. So let our democracy begin from our homes. My 2 children are here. They know I don't take any decision just because I'm the head of the family. I sit my 7 children down. Those who are not physically available, we put them on WhatsApp video or virtual. Let us discuss this matter. How do we go? We will argue. Their mother will argue. I'm the umpire, but not like INEC. I'm very independent. I'm a very independent umpire. When they argue, 4 may vote for, 3 may vote against. If their mother refuses to vote and it's 3-3, then I have a casting vote. If we practice democracy from our homes, then we will know the value of democracy. We cannot now come and buy people over. So we must strengthen political parties. The political parties we are having now are not political parties. They are owned by some powerful individuals, some powerful politicians. Is that not correct?
That's true.
You all know now. Yes. Political parties, the chairman will be invited to the house of maybe the presidential candidate or the governorship candidate. He will be jumping up. How high do you want me to jump, sir? Then you say run. You say, how fast do you want me to run? Is it Usain Bolt? Do you want me to do? So we must strengthen political parties as vessels to midwife and strengthen and expand the plenitude and amplitude of democracy and democratic institutionalization. We must have capacity building. Of course, media, there must be freedom of movement and freedom, media freedom, freedom of the press, and civil society engagement. We must have long-term vision and planning for us to succeed. At the end of the day, as I round up, let me make this point clear. Until Nigeria goes back to the drawing board. Now listen to me and listen very carefully, which is my party shot. Until Nigeria goes back to the drawing board, to know that Nigeria today is afflicted by a major illness that is worse than leprosy. Until Nigeria decides to immerse herself in the River Jordan of our nationalism, like Naaman the leper, who dipped himself into River Jordan 7 times and became cleansed of his leprosy. Until we know that we are not practicing a people's constitution, but a militarily imposed constitution under the General Abdusalami Abubakar government, which is actually decree number 24 of 1999. Until we decide to engage ourselves, we talk, we discuss, where are we coming from, where are we, and where do we want to go from here, which will lead to a people's constitution, a constitution that is autochthonous, a constitution that is homegrown, a constitution that is indigenous, a constitution that the people buy into and enjoys the legitimacy of the people. We will continue to waste time. So when Miss Flora Louisa Shaw, on the 8th of January 1897, was giving Nigeria her name, that area, Niger area, and she later married Lord Lugard, the man who on the 1st of January 1914 amalgamated the Southern Protectorate and Lagos Colony with the Northern Protectorate to found Nigeria. Until we know that we have problems, you cannot solve it. We have a proverb. If you have a boy and you are hiding it, it will develop into a gangrenous and incurable whitlow that can kill you. So, we must therefore go to brass tacks by having a people's constitution. The present constitution that you are amending, they have already amended it 4 times. They are trying the 5th one. Amendment plus amendment multiplied by amendment cannot solve it, because you cannot amend a bad product. If your house is cracking, you don't just go to the trees and cut off the branches. They will grow again and the tap roots will increase. What do? You go to the tap roots, you go and uproot them. We need a people's constitution to be subjected to a people's referendum owned by the people. It was done in Libya successfully. Heavens did not fall. In Egypt successfully. Heavens did not fall. In Tunisia successfully. Heavens did.
The person of Mike Ozekhome on the folk, a powerful truth. If you were the Kikuno Yabife, divorce with your own comment on the comment section below. Once again, don't forget that this is Eastern News 24. We will give to you the latest news update on what is happening in Biafra land. God bless Mazen Namdekano. God bless my Simon Eba. God bless Sunday Boho, all the freedom fighters. Isa. Danon Nene Kemesiano Munem.